Welcome to the Ugly Bug Podcast, a production of the Ugly Bug Fly Shop and Crazy Rainbow Fly Fishing.
Welcome to the Ugly Bug Podcast. On today's episode, we have Ty Morton with a clothing company, Flyoming. Flyoming is a unique company based here out of Wyoming with Wyoming values. Before we jump into the podcast, let's take a word from our sponsors.
The Ugly Bug Podcast is proudly sponsored by Flyoming, Wyoming-rooted fly fishing apparel and accessories, challenging the traditional mold, designed by anglers for anglers.
Ty, how are you, man?
Good. How are you, man?
Good.
Cool.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, no problem, man.
You been out fishing much?
A little bit. A little bit of alpine stuff, small creeks, and the Stillwater stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It's starting to dry fly fish a little bit. We're finally over the runoff hump on the small streams, or are you still seeing high water?
Oh, the high water's still there, and you're seeing the hatches, but if you're trying to head hunt, it's tough. You're prospecting. Yeah. At least that's what I'm seeing.
Kind of had a weird year here, an actual winter, and then so much rain. It's kind of been an odd one.
Really weird year. Yeah. Really weird year, which is finding me fishing for different species that I normally don't, just doing different things, which is fun.
Yeah. What weird species you been after lately, or out of the normal beaten path of Wyoming?
Well, not doing the Wyoming trout thing. Got to target some e-socks, doing the northern pike thing.
Cool.
Which was really cool. Pretty hooked on that. Want to do more of that.
Yeah.
And bass and panfish.
Largemouth or smallmouth, or
both. A little bit of local largemouth, and then kind of same fishery where I targeted the northerns. I went after the smallmouth, and then just the local ponds for panfish.
Yeah,
I think people sleep on that too much.
Super underrated. With the right rod, it's a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
Take an 8-weight for them, it's a little too much.
Right? Yeah. I mean, baby rod, little flies, and they'll just crash it. And if you throw 2 dry flies, you can kind of let that first fish dangle for a little bit, and next thing you know, you might have a second one. And great way to teach kids, significant others to fish too.
Yeah.
So
you've been getting the kids out then, I assume.
Yep. Yearly, it's kind of a re-teach them how to cast, and then the cool part about it is they usually touch fish.
Yeah, it's super cool. I think a lot of people get stuck on, especially a place like this where we're blessed to have kind of classic Western trout fishing where people travel to it, right? Mm-hmm. You kind of lose sight of like all the other fun, cool opportunities that, are a little abnormal for Wyoming, but probably the primary species for a lot of other places, right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then some of it is, how it is. We get the peak season of folks coming in to fish, and sometimes people complain about that at times, but that's the time to run away and go do these other things. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you can get away from some people and do a little bit of hiking and.
And then there's the old saying like trout live in pretty places, right? So that's the time to go experience those pretty places.
Yeah. Do you camp much with the family?
Yeah, we do, but it's glamping.
Yeah,
it's glamping.
It's all right.
we have access to some private property where the whole family, we circle the wagons, and we can park up there. And it's near a lot of freestone stuff, small creeks, bigger freestone streams, and then the mountain lakes. And blessed to but be near a private reservoir.
Yeah,
and so. It's not prolific fish in there, but they're fish that are uneducated.
Yeah.
So you can take the kids, poorly present a dry fly that makes no sense, and get bit.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, obviously you're the owner founder of Flyoming, a cool kind of Wyoming-based company, but some kind of different designs, cool incorporation of Wyoming wording, logos. You're kind of all over the map on different spins of it. But let's talk a little bit about some of the products you guys offer or you offer. Obviously, ball caps like the one you got on.
Yep.
Super cool. That logo is one of my favorites. That logo with the steamboat thing in it's also
Yep.
really cool. But hats, T-shirts, and then you do all kinds of stickers and different odds and ends as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we've done some buffs. We did koozies at first, played around with some of the accessory things, but mostly sticking to the apparel side with hats, shirts, and sweatshirts and sun hoodies for the most part. Yeah, it's kind of the bread and butter there, I guess.
Yeah, very cool. Are most of your hats, well, like the one you got on, it's kind of a cool new trend with the cork stuff.
Yeah.
Are you looking to do more of that in the future, or is it, how you find like sales versus kind of the new trendy stuff versus the old classics?
Well,
assume they still each have their benefit, but
yeah, and I struggle with the trends. There's a newer age of fly fisher that's kind of out there fishing now, and wearing a little bit different style than I wear. Even these flat bill 7 panels like this. First time I ever owned one, and I first put it on, I was like, I don't like this. But then I got used to it, and now I love it. But I was kind of the more traditional, regular 6-panel curved bill guy, and it was hard to get me to offer these other styles. I still do. I'm still kind of stuck in my own world on it, but the beauty of being the sole person behind this company, I get to do it how I want.
Sure.
And I stick to that, and I've always done it that way. But I do try to keep an open mind about things. Kind of the biggest thing, or where I see myself going, is reducing some of it, a little more small batch runs, if you will, of things, and incorporating art into it, custom art by other artists. I did a raffle back when COVID first hit, and Ty Halleck did the art on that for it, and that was really cool and awesome. And so I'm going to do some more of that stuff. There'll be kind of like, if you buy this hat, there's going to be no other hat like it. So the hard part about that, it's art, so the artist is going to charge me higher price cost, but it'll be a unique hat.
Yeah.
So be some things we'll do.
But if you do a limited run, I assume that you can overcome that, even if whatever the unit number needs to be, right? Shops like me are going to order every bit of it that I can get my hands on usually.
Yeah, well, and the cool thing about them is, so even if it's a run per se, so let's say limited run 612 hats, but each one of those hats is going to be unique to the other 11, right? Each one will be unique. It'll be hand painted. So
Yeah, very cool.
I think makes it cool.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, very cool.
And with Flyoming, it's always the way I've done it. If I haven't been able to do it myself, whoever I reach out to help me or produce, print, whatever, they have to be Wyoming based. So every artist that I've worked with, Wyoming based. Every company, the leather patch ones that I did, Wyoming based company that did that for me. So it's kind of what I'm all about. I feel like with a name like Flyoming, that's how it has to be. So
yeah, we just need a really good hat manufacturer to move to Wyoming.
Oh man,
right?
wouldn't that be cool? And that's the part, if these guys, the blanks or whatever we're getting, if they go outside of the state or nation, that's on them. But my direct costs are going to support Wyoming businesses, and
super cool.
Like that.
Yeah, super cool.
Is it the easy way to go about it? No. Is it the lucrative way to go about it? No. But I feel good about it, and it's the best way. It's revenue back into our home state and our home communities, and that means a lot to me. So
I forget the old adage, but I think it's like 3.2 times. $1 circulates 3.2 times around the state before it leaves.
Yeah.
Right. So you start doing the multiplier on, and a Wyoming person spending money in Wyoming, right? It definitely changes hands multiple times and keeps supporting the state in a big way.
And then if you think about it, that's so you get sales tax that comes in with all that money back into the community, for cool things, new parks, right? Stuff like that. And to me, that's where it all comes tenfold and makes sense.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
Not to sit here and talk a bunch of smack, but what is, Bezos doing for the state of Wyoming? What is Amazon doing for the state of Wyoming? Nothing. But,
No.
Any dollar generated out of a local fly shop is sales tax back into the community, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's that's always been a pet peeve of mine, right? Being a small business owner, you kind of, especially in like a lot of fly fishing products, it's the same price through me as it is online or through someone else, right? It's all minimum pricing, and you're not going to spend any more money with me, right? It's just it's just that you're spending it locally versus ordering it somewhere else. Luckily, a lot of the fly fishing market, Amazon hasn't quite caught on yet.
Right.
I'm sure it's coming at some point, but
where it has, you kind of have to be leery of what you're getting.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of knockoff stuff out there.
Yeah, most of the good companies won't even allow it as of right now, and hopefully it stays that way. Right.
Yeah, and if you're finding some of that stuff, there's a good chance it's not new.
It's not legit.
Pre-loved or whatever, or mocked, right?
Some sort of scam or mocked. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So the T-shirt you got on, that's a good classic. I love that one.
Yeah.
Who did that artwork for you, or did you do it yourself?
So, Chris Devine. If I butchered that last name, I'm sorry. He did the art. Well, I did half of it, submitted it to him. He put it all together, and with YO Print and Tyler Lampert. I think you're familiar with him. They put it all together for me. And the backstory on it, which is kind of funny, I like to challenge the traditional purist fly fisher, if you will. And if I offend anyone with that, I'm sorry. It's just how I am. So I just always thought, man, it would be funny to be on the water in the boat and get around a bunch of those type of anglers in different boats. And if I was just wearing some ignorant Slayer Slipknot shirt of some sorts and just torch fish in front of them, And I don't know why. I thought it was funny. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to go to Hot Topic in the mall and I'm going to go buy a Slayer or a Slipknot shirt and do this. And then I thought, well, I own an apparel company. Why don't I just make my own?
Right.
And then it's still fishy, and here it is, how it was born. So it was a selfish thing of mine. And I remember when I initially got it out, I just brought it out, and it was received rather well by a lot of people. And I mean, when it went to market in a couple stores, I mean, it disappeared.
Yeah.
So I probably need to do another run of it, actually.
How did you... if we take a step back, like when you started it, I mean, was it kind of years in your brain before you started the company, or was it a pretty quick transition once you had the initial idea? And then how did that idea come about?
It honestly was a really fast idea. If you go all the way to the very beginning, which at that time I didn't know was the beginning, a couple of friends and I used to do, an annual trip out to the mile, kind of that fall annual trip, right? And I did a shirt back then that was just kind of, for all of us that went on it, just a fun memento. And it's the Doing Real Shit shirt. I know you've seen that, right? I think the Ugly Bug sold a few, actually.
Yep, we did.
That was the very first shirt I ever did, and it was 6 of us that did the trip. Mm-hmm. Made 6 of them, and that was it. And I had a couple people say, you should make that, and sell those. I thought, whatever, I don't care.
Right.
And then, for the hell of it, I just was going to do another one for a couple friends, and the original Flyoming shirt was born. The flagship logo, with the fly and the buffalo in it, and then Flyoming above. So I drew it all up, had it pretty close, and then I leaned on Mr. Lampert again. I said, hey, man, will you color this up just a little bit, make it look real cool, slap it on a shirt for me? And then he sent me the mocks, and it just blew me away. I was like, oh, I think this is something.
Right.
And at the time, I thought, you know what, maybe let's just play with this, run with it a little bit. And at the time, I didn't want to handcuff myself necessarily to fly fishing. I thought about making it more outdoorsy, whatever.
Sure.
But I couldn't. I just thought, man, Flyoming, how is that not a company already?
Right.
Did my research, wasn't a company already. Okay, here we go. And then it was born, and then it's just gone from there. And I mean, it was kind of, I wouldn't say 0 to 60 real fast, but it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. Is the original logo still kind of the best selling, or is the Steamboat one overtaking it, or
the Steamboat version, I would say, oversells the Buffalo one. Mm-hmm. The state flag is what I refer to it as.
Yeah. But
that one I'm still partial to. I love Steamboat, the cowboy, the bucking horse.
Sure.
But I've always been partial to the state flag, and I don't think a lot of people capitalize on that. So I've just been partial to that.
Yeah.
That version. But Steamboat does traditionally outperform, and I understand why.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it too, just the color scheme of the brown and gold, right?
Well, yeah, and honestly, before the Steamboat version existed, it was just a brown and gold fly with nothing in there. Mm-hmm. And then so I had to jump through the hoops to get, grace with the University of Wyoming, made that happen. Then put it out to market, and there she goes.
The new collab we did together, I'm digging big time, right?
Are you?
With the Ugly Bug kind of logo drop on the shoulder, and it's been well received. I don't know if you saw the new fixture we put together down in the shop today, but
I have to go look.
Yeah,
I have to go look.
Hopefully, we'll showcase some of the T-shirts and different odds and ends. We got a little more, so.
Yeah, there was another one that I also liked really well, but we put it together, and then next thing we know, stock just disappeared.
Oh.
Which that's been one of the tougher parts of this, especially doing it the way that I do. A lot of people don't realize, but I mean, I don't have corporate investors or anything like that. It's been 100% me, all my own hard-earned money. So whatever money that Flyoming generates, it goes back into the business and buys the next products.
Sure.
I mean, I can't really say that I sit here and live off of it by any means or really take a paycheck. It all goes back into building what it is. So it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to do it that way, but it's fun, and I feel good about it.
Yeah.
So.
Back to the sourcing sort of thing too. I mean, through COVID and since, trying to get materials and production schedules, like that's all a challenge.
Yeah,
right?
and I know there's obviously you saw that on your end, right?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, and it was so wild because when it hit, no one knew what was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And we should have saw the explosion we were going to see in the outdoor industry, but we didn't. We thought we were all going to get locked down. The next thing we know, it went zero. That went 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Right now, and then next thing we know, talking to some of these blank manufacturers such as Richardson and stuff, that's a big one a lot of folks use. I lean on them a lot. They had no idea. I mean, they ran out of everything.
Right.
So it's been tough. I think we're leveled out now a little bit, but you still run into it.
Oh yeah, there's still random. I think a lot of it now is still shipping.
Yeah.
From some of those companies trying to get the product here or get a portion of it here.
Yeah, and I think folks kind of are just lean on it as a crutch.
Oh, totally.
When they underperform, they just blame, whatever, right?
Yeah, for sure. Other fishing plans for the summer? You kind of staying close to home? Or you got any big plans?
Not real big plans. I think in the fall I kind of want to try to do the ESOX thing again. Not gonna lie. I want to get to kind of the western part of the state and go do some cutthroat stuff over there. I love freestone fishing. I love pocket water fishing. So I kind of want to go do some of that stuff. It's just pretty, some of those places. And then I really want to try to knock out that ultimate angler thing that the state of Wyoming does. I only got 4 species left to go. There's a couple trout species I can hit to get there. I need a little bit of help on the bass and the ESOX end to get there. But just, I just want to get around and see some more of the state and just fish some different water, but nothing set in stone.
Yeah.
You know.
So does the state treat that program much like the Cut Slam, like where you submit pictures of?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You see, how does it go? So you catch it. You don't even. It's different from the Cut Slam because the Cut Slam matters the drainage that you catch it, right?
Yeah.
You have to say where you caught it, but it doesn't really matter, you know. I can catch a Bonneville cut, you know, over here, and then that just counts towards my cut throat, which that's what I did. That's how I got my cut throat. But it doesn't really matter native drainage. It just matters. You do have to say where you caught it, and submit a picture.
Okay.
And they ask that it, you know, if you can put a tape next to it, great. But if not, have something nearby that they can use for scale. So like a fly rod works great, right?
Sure.
So that's what I've done. And I don't know if too many people have got all 10 on a fly rod only, but that's how I'm going about it. And I just want to be able to say I've done that. So.
Very cool. Do suckers count towards the ultimate
No,
angler?
no, because I'm pretty damn sure I've gotten that state record. I just didn't know they even tracked that. So
I assume it has to be game species, and I don't think they consider suckers and carp game species,
It
right?
has to be a game fish. So I don't know why we track state record size for the sucker fish if we're not going to count it. But
yeah, I don't know that one either.
Yeah, and I mean, same thing with carp, right? I don't understand why that doesn't get tracked, because that fish is way, you know, I mean, I'm sure you can educate me on that, but they're a smart fish and they're tough to get after.
Very much.
Whenever I've seen them in the water and cast at them, we know how that works.
Mm-hmm.
You don't throw a bobber rig out there and torch a carp.
No, not at all.
I've got them by bycatch on accident, but...
Yeah, it happens from time to time, but not too often.
No.
What's next for Flyoming? What do you see in the future? Or you got anything kind of on the burner coming up?
On the burner coming up, I just actually came out with a new hat today. I'll kind of start getting that out. Got a new kind of logo fun sticker shirt thing that's going to come out. Just a little hint, I'm going to make fun of a old school bubblegum company.
Oh.
That's your hint on that. Aspirations, doing some hard good stuff. I've been wanting to get there, you know, like a year ago. It's just tough, like I said, with doing the business the way that I do. So you know, it'd be cool to do some fly boxes and some other things. Would really like to figure out how to do some repurpose stuff, you know, upcycling things. But it's just tough.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, some more designs coming down the pipe. Bamboo shirts are good.
Nice.
So I've kind of found that out.
Super comfy.
Yeah, super comfy. The comfiest. Terrible for mosquitoes. I can tell you that.
Little thin.
They don't hold up to mosquitoes.
No.
But.
Same with, they kind of hold up the normal no-see-ums, but they're usually not tight enough around the cuffs to keep the no-see-ums from just crawling up it. So, yeah. Well, very cool. Well, I appreciate you joining us. Social media, where people can find you?
You know,
TikTok handle?
I don't do TikTok. I don't do TikTok. Instagram, Flyoming Fly Fishing, and then on Facebook, Flyoming. I got a personal one, but the Flyoming one's probably way cooler. So if you look hard enough on the Flyoming one, you'll figure me out and find me out. So.
And then a few little specialty fly shops as well, kind of carrying it. Obviously, us here at the Ugly Bug.
So obviously, the Ugly Bug Fly Shop. Been here since day one, so appreciate you guys for that. You guys have been great. Easy to work with, too. You guys are awesome. And then the Cutthroat Fly Shop over in DuBois, Wyoming.
Oh, cool.
So in kind of, you know, back to that Wyoming thing, I'm only going to be in Wyoming fly shops for the foreseeable future. Yeah. So
you're not going to do a color, how do you know, how do you word that?
No.
Colorado-oming?
And I don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, funny story on that. I had a guy hit me up. He says, you need to get in Amazon. Do an Amazon store. And I said, I don't want to. And he says, well, I think you really should, and I can show you how to do that. Long story short, he was trying to get me in his store, right?
Yeah.
And I finally, I kind of had to get Western with him and tell him some choice words, but long story short, I said, this is my business, and I'll ruin it however I want.
I like it.
And here we are.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Good one to end on. Thanks,
All right.
Ty. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet, man. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to the Ugly Bug Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you have questions or feedback, reach out to us via email at info@uglybugpodcast.com or leave a comment on our social networks.